Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Cartooning, the show in which we take a look at cartoon characters from yesterday as well as today, learn a bit about their history and the creators behind them, and then learn to draw them together. On today's show, we're traveling to Springfield, USA to learn about one of the most famous TV dads for the past 31 years, Homer Simpson. The Simpsons has the distinction of being the longest-running American sitcom, with currently 31 seasons and 687 episodes. The show features the day-to-day adventures of the Simpson family, which includes husband and father Homer Simpson, his wife Marge, and their children Bart, Lisa, and Maggie. The Simpsons originated in 1987 as part of the Tracey Ullman Show, a sketch comedy show on the Fox network. The Simpsons shorts proved to be so popular that in 1989 Fox gave them their own show. The first 4 seasons centered around the mischievous Bart Simpson, but as the seasons went on, and on, and on, Homer became the show's center. Throughout the years, Homer's been portrayed as fat, outspoken, immature, and for lack of a better term, stupid. Despite this, he is a good husband and father, and in addition to his day-to-day suburban life, Homer's had amazing adventures, including going to outer space with Buzz Aldrin, becoming a famous American pop artist, and winning several awards like a Grammy for barbershop quartet singing, and even an Academy Award. The Simpsons was created by cartoonist Matt Groening, who named each character after a member of his own family. Matt Groening's real dad was named Homer. Groening designed the characters so that they would be recognizable in silhouette. Therefore, their basic body composition is simple three-dimensional shapes. This is especially evident in Homer's design, that includes lots of spheres for his round belly, and cylinders for his tube-shaped arms and legs. In fact, Mark Kirkland, director of many Simpsons episodes, describes Homer's head shape as a cylindrical coffee can with a salad bowl on top. Matt Groening even added a personal touch to Homer's original design. Where Homer's hairline and ear meet, Groening added his initials MG. Though the look of Homer and the rest of the Simpsons characters have changed over time, it's still a ratings winner in its usual Sunday time slot. Here's to another 32 seasons. Okay, let's get started with Homer Simpson. We're going to need some paper, of course. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need an eraser that you like. And of course, you're going to need your permanent marker for later. This is when we get to inking, so please make sure that you're careful with your permanent marker. It will stain your clothes and furniture and your skin. It'll eventually come off your skin, but it'll have a hard time getting it off your furniture and your clothing, so be careful with that. And then, of course, our colors for later on. We're going to be using colored pencils today. We're going to need some yellow for the skin, light brown for his 5 o'clock shadow, gray for his shoes, and a light blue for his pants. And if we take a look at our reference photo, the character design is actually very simple. They don't have a lot of articulation. In my class, I call these balloony bodies because it's almost like the arms and the legs are like balloons just coming off of the torso. And speaking of torso, he's got a classic pear-shaped torso and a pill-shaped head. We're actually going to render the head almost completely before we do the rest of the body. It's just easier to transition from the head to the body if we complete the head first, which is not always something that we do in this class, but we're going to do it today. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to draw a small circle closer to the top of your page. This is going to be the top of his head, that round top of the head. And then we're just going to draw 2 lines going down. This is going to be just the beginning of his head. Alright? Before we move on, we want to add on his eyes. Now, Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, for me, this is sort of like his what am I trying to say? Okay. Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, this is sort of like his trademark eye. He's got like 2 globes or 2 little ping pong ball eyes, and one is always in front of the other, and usually the nose kind of cuts it off. So we're going to do one eye first, which we did here. Then we're going to add in a nose right about there, which is sort of like a sideways letter U. And then the other eye goes behind it, coming off the edge of the head. All right, so his eyes are almost like they're bulging out of their sockets. All right, what's interesting is that his nose, Homer's nose, goes right into his 5 o'clock shadow, this little muzzle section. So right from the bottom of the nose, you're going to start going down this way. And then the top of his lip. And if we look at our picture one more time, Homer's doing his trademark woohoo, so we're going to draw that in too. Draw like a little, almost looks like an ear right now. All right, and then connect it all together. And then inside that little ear shape, put a number 6 and then fill in the hole. All right, now almost looks like he's whistling right now, but he's doing woohoo. You can go ahead and erase, if it makes it easier for you, erase the insides of the eyes. And then you could put in his little pupils here and here. All right. Now, here's a little insider tip. When it comes to, we should put in his little eyebrow right here that springs up from the eye and then goes into the forehead. Now, this side of his head over here. If we look at our reference photo, we can see that he has just hair on the sides of his head and then 2 little hairs on the top of his head. What's interesting is that this little section right here is actually the initials of his creator, M.G., matte graining. So all you have to do is put in his ear, which would be right about here. Doesn't have to be an exact G. But here you just want to put in a letter M. And that sort of gives you that trademark Homer hair. Then he's got 2 comb-over pieces of hair on the top of his head. All right. Then this line goes down into his neck, and this line goes down into his neck. Now we can create the rest of the body. Now we can actually do foundational shapes. Let's do that pear shape we were talking about. So here's the top of the pear, and here's the bottom of the pear. Light and sketchy now. We're going to be erasing a lot of these lines. All right. And he's got 2 arms that are going up this way, and his shirt sleeves kind of look like upside down bells. So you could just put in a bell there. Some of it is being cut off here, so we're only going to be seeing about that much of it. All right. He has 2 arms going up, one here and one here. And he's making a fist, but right now we're just going to put in just like an oval shape for the fist. We'll go back in later and do it the right way. Right now, let's just put everything where it's going to be. Okay. He's got a gigantic belly. And then 2 legs going down. Which again, these are, I call them, in my classes, I call them balloony bodies, because there's no articulation. It looks like as if he doesn't have any bones. He just has these balloons or hoses coming down. There's his cuffs, and then his shoes. His shoes are very simple. We don't see any socks. There's no detail to the shoes other than he's got a pointed toe and a heel. Okay. Let's go in and render some of those individual fingers. The Simpsons are known for having a thumb and then 3 fingers, unlike a normal human. And in fact, another little insider tip about The Simpsons, the only character that has 4 fingers and a thumb in The Simpsons is whenever God is on there. So whenever you see God on The Simpsons, he has 4 fingers and a thumb. Alright, so here is the pinky and the thumb. Alright, and then the rest of the fingers are going to be nestled behind both of these. So here is the middle finger, and then here is the pointer finger, which we're only going to see the top of like that. And then there's that little suggestion of the palm of the hand right there. Let's move on to this one. Thumb. We see the bend over of the pointer finger, tucking behind the thumb. Middle finger and pinky. Then a little curved line for the palm of the hand going right down into the arm. And you could put a little bend right there. All right, the last thing we need to do is just his collar, and that can be tricky sometimes. But all you have to do is put in a letter V right about here, and then from the top of the letter V, go across, create the collar, and that's it. Go right into that. Let's extend the cuff a little bit. Then draw a line down from it, and then creating the fold over of the collar. And then on this one, all we're going to see is sort of like a loose rectangle right there. Okay. We're going to have a little line right there. That's where his belly begins. This is the bottom of his shirt. That when we start inking, you'll be able to see how it looks like. It'll be kind of hard to see with the pencil, so I'm going to wait on that. But it's going to look like it's going behind the body. His belly goes into his pants. And when we ink this, it's going to look like it's all one piece. And then just, he has a cuff at the bottom of his pants. Alright, we're ready to start inking. Today, I think an ultra fine point might do the job. We want that thin point. If we look at our reference photo, Matt Groening pretty much does a standard line that doesn't really get any thicker in places. So I think a nice ultra fine point will do the job. All right, let's start with his eye. And this is one of those characters that you want as smooth a line as possible when you're inking. So take your time with it and go slow. From the nose right into that 5 o'clock shadow. There's that number 6, and then just fill it in. All right, and he's making his woo. Okay, there's the eye, pupils. All right, before we do any of the hair, just get the head shape done. So there's that eyebrow going into the top of his head, all the way through to the ear. Okay, go ahead and do the ear and the line to the neck. I'm actually going to make his M just a little bit bigger than I had it. Okay, and then the 2 comb over strands of hair on the top of his head. All right, then this side of the neck and the collar. Once we get past this collar, it's pretty much going to be smooth sailing. I always find the collar difficult. And that's why it's okay, if ever you guys are drawing at home on your own, it's okay to have a reference photo. Okay. One thing I would like to render in pencil, which I didn't before, is we're going to draw his sleeve as if it is three-dimensional. We see where the hand goes into the sleeve on this side. We don't see it on this side, but we see where the arm fits into the sleeve. So just going to draw sort of like a opposite curve there, and then just extend that line down. And if it makes it easier for you, you can erase the original cuff line. Now it looks like the arm is going into the cuff. Let's go ahead and draw that in. All right, that line first, then the arm, and the hand. Remember, think before you ink. We want to make sure that a finger looks like it is tucked behind another finger if it needs to be. Okay, let's do the other one. Okay, now, this is what I was talking about before. Ink the shirt and then do a little curved line right there. Now we can ink across without it connecting to make it look like the shirt is going all the way around Homer and all the way around his belly. Then the belly section goes down that way from the inside of that curve. Continue with this leg. Get the cuff in there. And the shoes. Finish up with the shoe. Okay, that looks like all of our inking lines. So let's, at this point, take a little time, get your eraser out, and gently erase all your original pencil lines. Okay, pencil lines erased, as is usually the case. I always find a line that I forgot to ink, and that would be his belly line right here, right across. Not bad that that's the only one I missed. Alright, now it's time for color. And famously, the Simpsons have yellow skin. So let's get our yellow colored pencil and do everything that would be skin tone. has a 5 o'clock shadow, so it's sort of like a light brown color. I always call this part of Homer his muzzle, like an animal. Okay. Light blue for the pants. You can get fancy with a little bit of shading if you want. Just go a little bit darker in some areas. But you don't have to. And then gray for his shoes. Like I said before, you can go a little bit darker in some areas, creating a little bit of shade, a little bit of shadow. You could do that with the gray and the blue and even the yellow. You go back, put a little bit of blue shade in there. Just press a little darker, that's it. Now, interestingly enough, his shirt is white, but we can leave it plain white, but we could also add on, again, some shade by using the same blue, but don't press very hard. Just add a little bit of shade there. Go down this side of his body. Sort of echoing that curve right here. We'll have a little bit there as well. And on his collar. A little bit of shadow right there underneath his shirt. And then we can do the same with the yellow. If we press a little harder, we can get a darker shade of yellow. But if that isn't enough for you and your taste, you could, like I said, you could press hard with the yellow or go back in with some of that brown that we did for his muzzle and then just lightly add in a little bit there. That should be enough just to set it off. You might not be able to see it on camera, but you'll definitely be able to see that in person. bad, guys. Look at that. Here we go. Homer Simpson. Woohoo!